This week in youth ministry, we're talking about technology, which is interesting because people assume that I'm a technology guy, people in my parish, because I'm the youth minister, which is typically who people assume is the technology guy in their parish, and people in youth ministry because I do a lot of technology-based things. And I'm not. I'm an application guy. I'm a tools guy. I'm an architect. I like to pick things up and take them apart and see how they work, with the assumption that anything in God's created universe can be used to glorify Him. As a matter of fact, some things that are designed not to can be turned around to beautiful purposes. I've got a shrewd and strategic mindset. I ideate like nobody's business. And so a lot of times today that leads us into how do we use technology to do things. And so it leads us into doing things like running cell phone mediated scavenger hunts at youth and the youth minister conventions. It leads to doing things like running a TWYM, a Twitter haiku contest. Leads to doing things like running a global online youth ministry conference twice a year. Now today, as of today, it starts leading you to running a live online web show. And I think I don't look at technology as the reason we do that. The reason we do that is because of Christ, because we want to magnify Him and glorify Him, and that in every single generation we're offered new opportunities to do that. And I think the church was really, really amazing at that. Historically, we were patrons of the arts. We were the most cutting edge people. Paul is one of the first people in history who wasn't a king or a general to use pen and paper to send messages to faraway communities in an educational format. That wasn't done before him. The man was on the cusp of cutting edge technology by writing letters to these different communities. Throughout the course of history, we've been patrons of scientists, and then at a certain point, we stopped, and I don't know all the reasons why, and I don't think anybody does. Even historical scholars and theologians who dive into church history, I think we know a lot of the reasons, but I don't think we know them all. I think so many of them are tied up in the culture of the time and the culture of the day, just like what we do should be tied up in the culture of the time and the culture of the day. And I think there are technologies that we look at and we say, hey, that's over there, and we can't find a good way to use that, and we can't see a good way to use that, so we're going to put it over here and hold off on it. I don't think that means we abandon it. I think that means we say, hey, we don't know how to use that right now. So, for me, a lot of the tools that have presented themselves nowadays are amazing for breaking open conversations with young people around faith. And I don't just mean as communication things, but I mean as small s sacramental ways to talk about the relationship between the physical in the invisible world. Because frankly, even though we understand how technology works and we don't always understand how grace works, we have a lot of great theology built up to explain it. We've got great doctrines that teach us truths about it, but we don't understand it. It's a mystery. We understand technology and how technology works, but it's a great way to say, here's something physical that impacts something invisible. It's a very direct sacramental connection. And so for me, when I look at how we engage young people in certain conversations around the sacramental nature of who we are as Christians, technology is a great analogy and a great connection for that. I want to say Elaine, and I'll correct it tomorrow if I'm wrong. Elaine Mendari from the Diocese of Reno has released a great short little read called "The Theology of Social Media," and she really talks about how it's body of Christ theology. It's about connection, and it's really something that we as church have known forever, that now the rest of the world has become aware of. And I think that so often we experience that technology and science point us closer to God. So as we dive into this conversation this week about technology, that's kind of where I want to start. I'm going to do a couple book reviews this week. I'm going to talk about Adam McLean's new book, A Parent's Guide to Social Media. I'm going to talk about a couple other different pieces that I've been reading lately, including a little bit more about the theology of social media. But I'm looking forward to it. So if you're somebody who wanting to dive a little bit more into technology and a little bit more into application of technology, shoot me your questions, post them out, comment below. I'm looking forward to it. Bye.